Woo, good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully today's gonna rain. I'm here with the 11th grade C. This is Wednesday, 18th of August, and we are here on the class number 8 on going over the narrative tenses and their explanation. On the previous class, we had a look at story, and in that story, we used different tenses, all of them in the past. So today, I'm going to go a bit deeper on the narrative tenses and how to use them. So, first of all, quickly reminder that the narrative tenses are all about the past, okay? And we use them to tell stories, to narrate experiences, narrate stories like in books or fiction or whatever. We use 4 tenses and narrative tenses, and they often talk about the past. And the most common are the past simple, the past continuous, the past perfect simple, the past perfect continuous. So there we have 4. And also sometimes we add would and used to. They are combining different things when talking about the past. Every time we write in the past, they are going to be doing the wrong word, the past simple, the past perfect, and also. So I have the tenses on the left, and here in the middle, I have a bit of a summary on how they use it. So I'm going to use here in the narrative use. In the narrative use of a past simple, we have when we have events in a chronological order, that means in a sequence. Every time we find events in a sequence separated by a comma or and or so or thus, we're going to be talking about past simple. That means one event and another event and another event and another. The events are moving forward. For example, last night I woke up, went to the bathroom, opened the window, and I looked down, and there wasn't anyone over there. So everything is the past simple because it's a sequence. I woke up, I went to the kitchen, opened the door, looked down the stairs, and there was nobody there. So that is sequence. The past continuous. We use it for 2 things, we can say. And one of them is not here, but we use the past continuous to refer the 2 actions happening at the same time. I can say, in the morning, I saw my mom making some biscuits and my dad cooking. Or I was talking on the phone while, that means 2 actions at the same time, while I was playing video games. I was talking on the phone while I was playing video games. Simultaneous action. We use the past continuous. And also the most common use for past continuous is when we talk about the context of the story. So I can say, I was living in England in 2020 when this happened. Or last night I was sleeping when this happened. Or the wind was blowing in the city of Copiapó and everybody were blah, 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 blah. So when we want the reader to immerse or enter our story, we're going to be using the past continuous to set the context of the story. And finally, we're going to be using the past perfect when we refer to an event before the past simple. So, for example, here says, when I met her, past simple, I'd never been in a serious relationship. So met here is the past simple. And I had never been in a relationship before I met her. So the past perfect is like the grandparent. It's like a grandparent from the past simple. It comes after the past simple. They are going to be working together usually because you need a time reference when using the past perfect. So the past perfect is always the action number 1, and then the second action is the past simple. I can say, he had an accident. He had an accident because he hadn't seen the cow on the road. So he had an accident, past simple. Or he crashed the car, past simple. because he hadn't seen the cow. That is before. So the first action, didn't see the cow. Action number 2, crashed the car. So the first action, past perfect. Second action, past simple. Have that in mind. It's very important. And the past perfect continues, which is is the same idea of the past simple, but has a slight difference, that is that we focus on the duration. For example, he went home after he had been waiting for 5 hours. So he went home, but before going home, he had been waiting for 5 hours. So again, it's a previous event, but we are adding the element of duration, the element of time, for 5 hours. Been waiting for 5 hours. Had been waiting. The structure of the past perfect is had been, and a verb with the ing. Had been waiting. He got tired after. No, he got tired because he had been running for 30 minutes. So he got tired. Before that, he had been running for 30 minutes. That's a lot of time. So it's the same idea. The past perfect, but we focus on the duration of the event. Now, there's a video here. We're gonna have a look now.
Hi guys, Dan for BBC.
Wait a bit. Internet slow. Okay, so Dan is going to help us to understand how they work, okay, a bit better. Let's go. No subtitles, so pay attention. Let me see if it's sharing the, yes, sharing the volume. Good volume now. Here we go.
BBC Learning English here. This time we're going to be talking about narrative tenses, which are story tenses. And we're going to try and do the whole thing in 90 seconds. Are you ready? Here we go. So, can you see this scar? I got this scar when I was about 5 or 6 years old. You see, I used to love jumping on the bed. I say used to because used to is used for a past habit, which is something that we don't do anymore in the present. Although, I still quite like jumping on the bed. Don't tell anybody, okay? So, one day after I had arrived home from school, I went upstairs to jump on the bed. Now I say had arrived because had arrived is the past perfect, and this means that the action is complete before the past simple verb. I could say I went upstairs after I had arrived home. It doesn't make any difference to the meaning. The past perfect always comes first. Now my mum was quite tired because she had been working all day, so she didn't see me go upstairs. Had been working is the past perfect continuous. It's exactly the same as the past perfect, except we use it for longer actions. She had been working all day. Anyway, while I was jumping on the bed, my mum came in and told me to get off. While I was jumping is the past continuous. We use this for an action which is in progress at a past time. We often combine it with the past simple to give the interrupted past. While I was jumping, my mother walked in and told me to get off the bed. So, I decided to get off the bed, but instead of walking off like a sensible person, I jumped off and I went completely out of control and I bashed my head on my mother's bedside table, giving me this scar. I was quite lucky because I could have taken out both of my eyes, and I have quite lovely eyes. Oh, excuse me. I have quite lovely eyes. So, moral of the story is always listen to your mother. Now I use the past simple to describe the main events of the story because the past simple is the most important tense and it's at the point that we want to focus on. Did you get it? Alright guys, Dan for BBC Learning English, signing off.
Studio, okay, yes, past simple is the main event, so have that in mind. When we are working with the narrative tenses, the most common, the one that appears a lot is the past simple, and sometimes past perfect and sometimes the others, but the past simple is the main one. Okay, let me find a good line story, the anecdote. A donkey. Oh, this one is pretty easy, okay? Okay, so do we have the verbs? We don't have the verbs. So I think we have. Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna start. This happened, right? This happened about 10 years ago. Okay, what do you do next? Context. Context. No, Chile, no. The hint. People, can you help me out? We are setting the context of the anecdote, of the story. Context.
I was driving.
Thank you.
sé.
Yeah, I was riding. Yeah, perfect. I was riding my bike in England, in the countryside. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to open the chat and the countryside. It was a beautiful morning. The sun. Okay, again, context. We are giving the context of all the surroundings. So we want the reader
Was shining.
to feel, yes, the sun was shining and the birds
Were singing.
were singing. Yeah, again, good. I rode through a very little village and I happily when I behind me. I rode through a very village and I okay, here we can see an action in progress and then an interruption because we have when. An action in progress. I was
Having a daydream.
it can be a verb as well. Daydreaming. I was daydreaming. Daydreaming can be a verb, like cuando uno anda pavoneando, como que empieza a soñar despierto. I was daydreaming when I interruption people. The interruption of the past continuous is always the past simple. So
When I hear. Con la D, o sea, no.
pronunciation heard.
I heard. Eso.
Yes, good. When I heard a noise behind me, it was a click click noise, and at first I. This is like y pensé. Okay, is any.
So.
And I thought, yes, I thought something was caught on the wheel of my bike. So this is like the next event, it's a sequence. Entonces hice esto, past simple again.
Look.
I looked down, but the wheel was fine. The noise started to get louder and I looked behind me. To my alarm, I saw an very big, an enormous, porque está con an, ¿no? An enormous. I saw an enormous dog. Chase means follow, but like really fast. I saw an enormous dog chasing me. Me estaba persiguiendo. It was the I ever seen. The biggest dog I ever seen. It looked more like a donkey than a dog. Wow. Dogs usually bark when they chase bikes. This is not in the past. Está hablando de algo en el presente. But this one, ahora sí vuelve. Ahí vuelve el pasado. But this one, este no ladró o no había ladrado.
Didn't bark.
Yeah, this one didn't bark. Este no ladró. Didn't bark. And this is the consequence. It's a sequence. a sequence.
Worried.
It's worried. Me more. I pedaled as hard as I could on the bike again to go faster, but still the dog was chasing me. I looked around and I can't see him. In the past. That's simple. Past simple, yes, past simple here. Lo podía ver.
Could see.
I could see him clearly. He had a big red tongue, el perro, which le colgaba. Past simple again, past simple. Past simple of hang. Hang. This hung around one side of his mouth and a row of gleaming white teeth. Then, there, hubo, past simple. Past simple. There was a loud bang. The bike jumped. Yes, kata. And down, and I nearly, past simple, because it's a sequence. Past simple of fall.
Fell.
No, almost fell as I went over the cattle grid at high speed. The cattle grid es esta malla del ganado, la reja del ganado. Ganado, cattle. But unfortunately, the grid seemed to stop the dog because the next time I looked around, it was gone. A little further up the road, I stopped my bike and had a drink of water. My heart still beat like a steam engine. Entonces está como still involucra que aún, entonces como progresivo, como continuo, ¿ya? Past continuous.
Was still beating.
But still beating. Aún latía como una máquina de vapor. Okay, that's it. The story. No hay ningún past perfect. Bueno, hay uno acá que no nos dejaron poner. Okay, so now I'm going to take this. Okay, I'm going to take the narrative tenses to take you to another place. And this is what your next task will be about. And which is the hero's journey. Okay, the hero's journey. Okay, we're gonna have a look at a bit of a video, short video, to set the context of the conversation. It's very important. Okay, and why the hero's journey? Because we are entering in the narrative tenses. The main objective of the unit is to be able to write an original story following the example, following the sample, following the ideas or the steps of the hero's journey. So now we're going to have a look to the philosophy of the hero's journey.
What do Harry Potter, Katniss Everdeen, and Frodo all have in common with the heroes of ancient myths? What if I told you they are all variants of the same hero? Do you believe that? Joseph Campbell did. He studied myths from all over the world and published a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces, retelling dozens of stories and explaining how each represents the monomyth or hero's journey. So, what is the hero's journey? Think of it as a cycle. The journey begins and ends in the hero's ordinary world, but the quest passes through an unfamiliar, special world. Along the way, there are some key events. Think about your favorite book or movie. Does it?
Okay, let's think about Harry Potter. It's a very good example of this. Harry Potter is your example to do this. For me, maybe not Harry Potter. It wasn't my generation. For me, it's like Star Wars, Luke Skywalker. It's the same idea.
Follow this pattern. Status quo, that's where we start. 1 o'clock, call to adventure. The hero receives a mysterious message, an invitation, a challenge. 2 o'clock. Assistance. The hero needs some help, probably from someone older, wiser.
Hagrid or Dumbledore or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
3 o'clock. Departure. The hero crosses the threshold from his normal, safe home and enters the special world and
Tatooine to the space. London to Howard's.
adventure. We're not in Kansas anymore. 4 o'clock. Trials. Being a hero is hard work. Our hero solves a riddle, slays a monster, escapes from a trap. 5 o'clock. Approach. It's time to face the biggest ordeal, the hero's worst fear. 6 o'clock. Crisis. This is
Darth Vader, Voldemort.
the hero's darkest hour. He faces death and possibly even dies, only to be reborn. 7 o'clock. Treasure. As a result, the hero claims some treasure, special recognition, or power. 8 o'clock. Result. This can vary between stories. Do the monsters bow down before the hero, or do they chase him as he flees from the special world? 9 o'clock. Return. After all that adventure, the hero returns to his ordinary world. 10 o'clock. New life. This quest has changed the hero. He has outgrown his old life. 11 o'clock. Resolution. All the tangled plot lines get straightened out. 12 o'clock. Status quo, but upgraded to a new level. Nothing is quite the same once you're a hero. Many popular books and movies follow this ancient formula pretty closely, but let's see how well The Hunger Games fits the hero's journey template. When does Katniss Everdeen hear a call to adventure that gets the story moving? When her sister's name is called from the lottery. How about assistance? Is anyone going to help her on her adventure? Hey, Mitch. What about departure? Does she leave her ordinary world? She gets on a train to the capital. Okay, so you get the idea. What do you have in common with Harry Potter, Katniss Everdeen, and Frodo? Well, you're human, just like them. The hero's journey myth exists in all human cultures and keeps getting updated because we humans reflect on our world through symbolic stories of our own lives. You leave your comfort zone, have an experience that transforms you, and then you recover and do it again. You don't literally slay dragons or fight Voldemort, but you face problems just as scary. Joseph Campbell said, "In the cave you fear to enter lies the treasure you seek." What is the symbolic cave you fear to enter? Auditions for the school play? Baseball tryouts? Love? Watch for this formula in books, movies, and TV shows you come across. You will certainly see it again, but also be sensitive to it in your own life. Listen for your call to adventure. Accept the challenge. Conquer your fear and claim the treasure you seek. And then do it all over again.
Okie dokie. So, before I leave you, my beautiful people, here we have again kind of a mini map of what he talked in the video. You can find the video there as well. So we thought of some characters. They mentioned Frodo, they mentioned Harry Potter, and they mentioned Katniss Everdeen. Can you think of other characters that follow the hero's journey?
O sea, algún personaje que siguió ese ciclo, por decirlo de alguna manera.
Yeah, it's kind of the idea. It's not always like the same thing, but has the idea of a journey.
Y es que el único en el que pensé fue Harry Potter, pero es que ya estaba de ejemplo, así que.
Okay, good kata. Doesn't worry. Don't worry. What about Percy Jackson?
No me leí los libros, pero me vi las películas. Pero sí, igual sí se parece. Sí. Sigue como más o menos ese ciclo también.
See, for me, Luke Skywalker it's really similar to this. El Mago de Oz. Ah, yes. What's the name of the girl of the Wizard of Oz? The name of the girl of the Wizard of Oz. Help. This girl has like red shoes. Think.
Dorothy.
Dorothy. That's perfect. Yeah, Dorothy is another example of the hero's journey. In this case, it's a heroine, so that's good. Now, we know now that some of the aspects in question number 3 that make the hero's journey so attractive is because we can relate, we can reflect ourselves on them. For example, Harry Potter, just a regular student. He had a really, really bad life. His adopted family didn't want him. His life sucked, to be honest. But then it became, wow, a magician, right? Respected by everybody. Luke Skywalker, a farmer, a regular farmer, and then he became, wow, powerful Jedi. Katniss Everdeen, yeah, just a regular girl, and then, phew, the heroine of the section. No, so he freed the people. She freed the people. Now, what you're gonna do? I'm gonna upload this to Google Classroom tomorrow. I mean today for you. What you're gonna do is the following thing. Attention. And if the other people asked you, is the following thing. Attention, President. What you're gonna do? You are going to find a story, but not modern. You're going to find an old story. I want a myth. I want a myth. Okay, find a myth. A myth. Okay, from any old culture. It can be whatever culture you want. Okay, so find a myth. Okay, and write it down in a Google document with a picture of the myth, right? Please, and change the color of every single narrative tense that you can find. Find the story of a myth, get a picture, and underline all the narrative tenses that you use. Okay, I want you to identify them. For example, you can write all the past simple with orange, all the past continuous with purple, all the past perfect with blue, and so on. Okay?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, yeah, all right. El trabajo más arduo es tener que como poner la historia y identificar los tiempos. No van a inventar mitos para nada. Van a buscar uno antiguo.
Profe,
Yes.
¿y de cuánto? O sea, tiene que ser el mito tipo, aunque tenga, no sé, pues 6 hojas, las 6 hojas se las hacemos.
No, generalmente los mitos son súper cortos. Así que
Ah, ok.
no va a ser tan largo para nada. Son cortos y precisos. ¿Ya? Tampoco se maten buscando algo demasiado largo. ¿Ya?
Ya, acá.
Yeah. All right, people. Take care. I'm going to give you more detail in the homework. Okay?
Ok, teacher, take care.
All right, bye. Take care, people. See ya.
Chao, profe, nos vemos, cuídese.
See you too, Kata.
Chao, profe.
Bye-bye. See ya.
Chao, profe, cuídese.
Bye-bye, Angelos. Bye, Mati.